everyone, it's CricketSong with Una Wisdom, and today's video is a tag video. I am going to do Ravenflower's 2022 tag video. There are 22 questions, and let's get to it. Question number 1, New Year's resolutions. Do you believe in them? I understand why people make them. I myself do not make New Year's resolutions. Question 2 is why or why not? So I guess, do I believe in them? I'd say no. For me, when I'm looking to make changes, I tend to do it in the springtime, but I never make a resolution because I feel like if I were to try to make a resolution for myself, for whatever reason I wasn't able to complete the resolution or succeed with the resolution, I'd feel like a failure. So I don't tend to make resolutions, but I do tend to make changes. But any big changes, I do usually with the spring. That's just what I do. Question number 3, what is your favorite color or colors? My favorite color is green. I like most shades of green. I don't like lime green, but all the other shades of green I definitely like. I like purple, and I like burgundy, and I like black, and I like the combination of black and green and black and orange, but I don't really like orange by itself. And question 4, does your favorite color hold magical or emotional meaning for you? All colors tend to hold magical meanings for me, and I feel that they all have an emotional, I respond to colors emotionally. Green is something I really look to for comfort, and for me, it reminds me of the earth and the forest, and all that feels rather comforting for me. Burgundy, I don't know, I like burgundy. I like like I said, color combinations like black, orange, or black and green, and those remind me of fall colors, and fall is my favorite season, so I think that's the association I tend to make with that. But I do use colors in my magic sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. Question number 5, do you use substances for divination or meditation, like flying oils, herbs, or alcohol? When I'm doing divination, or I like to be clear-minded. And when I drink alcohol or smoke pot, I tend to get foggy mind, or more too relaxed, I guess. And number 6 was why or why not? Again, I feel like when I drink alcohol or I smoke pot, I tend to be more relaxed and my mind tends to be foggy. And when I do divination, I like to be clear-minded so that I personally can discern what is an authentic message and what I may be telling myself, instead of, consciously trying to logically or reason an answer instead of just letting spirit guide me in the answer. So that's why I tend to like to be clear-minded. But I definitely can see why people would use alcohol or pot or herbs or whatever in order to sort of be more relaxed and let the logical or conscious mind shut off so that they're more open to receiving messages. But for me, I tend to like to be more clear-minded. Number 7, what is your favorite part of your practice? I think divination. I see divination is part of my practice, and that tends to be my favorite part. Learning new forms of divination and practicing divination. Question number 8, what is the least favorite part of your practice? Least favorite part of my practice. What I tend to do is I don't necessarily tend to see my practice and my life as separate, although I can definitely see why people do tend to think of these two things as separate. Like my mundane life and my spiritual practice are very much intertwined. So if I think about it in that sense, I'm not someone who likes to clean. I definitely like a clean space, but I don't tend to enjoy the act of cleaning. So that would carry through to my practice. So even though I definitely like arranging my altar or my sacred space, I like putting things in their places, I don't tend to like to actually clean it. I do it, and it's something I definitely reap the benefits in doing, but it's not something I like really enjoy doing. So I guess that would be my least favorite part of my practice. Question number 9. How do you feel your practice has grown over time? Well, if I look at where I began and where I am now, the biggest transformation or the biggest change in my practice is the fact that I do not work with a specific god or goddess. I don't work with a personified god or goddess. In the beginning of my practice, I did, and for a long time I did. I think that has been the biggest change, along with the fact that I don't really practice or hold rituals much anymore. You know, when I began my path of witchcraft, I was definitely Wiccan, and I held ritual for every full moon or esbat and every sabbat. I was holding ritual. Now I don't tend to do that. So it's gone from a very formal, structured practice to a very informal practice. So that has been the biggest change. Or growth, I guess you could say. Number 10, is there a show or movie that inspires you? I don't know I find inspiration in all different things, but I think the movies or show that has influenced me has been The Mists of Avalon, the mini-series that I think was on A&E. It has Angelica Houston and the actress who played Carol in ER. They're the main characters in the mini-series. I did read the book, the first book, and started the second book. I haven't continued to read the series, but it's really when I saw the mini-series that really influenced me, along with Practical Magic with Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock. The reason why that really influenced me is I felt it was a story about two women who magic and witchcraft was just a part of their lives. It wasn't something that was viewed as supernatural. It was just a natural part of how they lived their life. It was, with the aunts and everything. That's what influenced me the most, that it was just part of their lives. It was practical. Number 11, do you have a familiar? I do have a familiar spirit that I've worked with for most of my life. At one time, my familiar spirit did embody a physical form, but now it's back to its spiritual form. It was a spirit when I was first introduced to it as a child, although my parents thought it was my imaginary friend. And then for a few years, when I first started my practice, that spirit took on a physical form. And now it's back to a spiritual being. But it's the same entity. Number 12, would you recommend any YouTube channels? Well, I'm doing Ravenflower's tag, so I would definitely recommend her channel. I definitely would recommend Jasmine Ambrosia. And I've been watching a new YouTube channel, The Occultist. I really am enjoying her videos. So I'll put those 3 links in the information section of this video. Number 13, name something you must do daily for your mental/emotional well-being or for your practice. Every morning, for my physical well-being, for my mental well-being, for my emotional well-being, and for my practice, I take a daily walk, and I do that outside. Getting outside within nature, I get alone time, I have moments to clear my mind, to separate myself from the demands of my life as mother, wife, support in the home, all the home responsibilities that I have. I'm able for that hour, 45 minutes to an hour every day, time out in nature where I can contemplate, where I can do a walking meditation, where I can find inspiration, where I can commune with the spirits of the land. It's quiet. Because I usually do it at 6 to 7 in the morning. The neighborhood is quiet. The earth is still. It's just a time for me to commune and merge my energies with my environment and ground myself and center myself. Plus, I get physical benefits from exercising every day. So that is something I must do daily. When I don't have an opportunity to do that, if there's an appointment or other obligations that I have, I can tell I'm off. I'm off for that day. 14, what is something that started as an obstacle, but you can now see as a blessing? I would really say the move from Massachusetts to Washington State. I felt when I first got here it was an obstacle. I didn't have friends, physical friends. I didn't have the community of witchy, pagan, spiritual people that I did back in Massachusetts. I was getting involved or just starting a relationship with a local witchy store, which I still have a connection to, but I can't be there. And I felt like I had lost that sense of community. But now I see that it's been a benefit because I've been removed from a place I felt very grounded and stable. It allowed me to go through the transition that I was required to go through. I was pulled out and challenged. And I had to face things on my own. I had to address and deal with past trauma. I had to work with my shadows. I had to face fears and anxieties in order to grow. And it was necessary. Even though at first I felt it was an obstacle, I can now see it as a blessing. Number 15, which do you prefer? YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok? I'm on all of those platforms, but I'm most active on YouTube and Facebook. But I see that each of the platforms have a purpose. I enjoy looking and watching at TikToks and going to Instagram, but I'm more active on YouTube and Facebook, and I guess I prefer those two. Number 16, what do you feel is missing from our witchy community? For me, I feel like it's a sense of community. I've been here on YouTube for over a decade, and I feel like I had more of a sense of community with the other witches back in the day when we were able to do video responses. You can still do it now, but it's different. There was an actual feature where you could click and do a video response and you were linked to the video that you were responding. And I feel like that really encouraged more interaction between individuals in the community. I miss that. I established a lot of good friendships back then, and I still am friends with a number of people who are still on YouTube and who have left YouTube. And I feel like it was a different time. It was different, and I miss that. And I feel like it's the sense of community. And maybe it's just because I'm not part of a lot of the community. Maybe I feel like I'm an outsider to that community. YouTube has changed a lot. The online community in general has changed a lot. And I feel like the YouTube community has changed as well. And before, it wasn't, a lot of people just picked up their camera and just talked to it. I guess it was more vlogging. And now I feel like that's changed. Number 17, how much space do you use for supplies and spell work? I basically use the dresser that I use as an altar, and I have been using as an altar for a few years now. I put all my spell correspondences and my herbs and my oils and my candles in that dresser, in the drawers. But if I'm doing kitchen magic, I'll use here in the kitchen, I'll use my counter and my kitchen pans and bowls and stuff. So sometimes my craft sort of spills out of that designated space to other areas. Not to mention that if I'm doing work with the nature spirits outside, that I go outside and I work with the things outside. So I use as much space as I need, I guess. Number 18, how many altars do you have in your home? I just have the one, and it's more like a workbench. It is an altar, but again, when I think of altar, I think of working with deity, a space to commune with deity, but that altar is a space that I commune with the energies and the spirits. I only have one, and it's the one that I've shown in videos. Number 19, what is your favorite sabbat? Samhain. And then my second favorite sabbat is Beltane. And number 20, do you prefer tarot, runes, oracle deck, or pendulum? I use them all. The runes I use are witches runes, not the Norse runes, but I prefer tarot. And then I prefer oracle cards, and I use a crystal ball, and crystal ball is another thing that I use. But each of those forms of divination have a specific use for me. Number 21, are you out of the broom closet? Yes, I am. And number 22, who are you going to tag in this video? I am going to tag Jasmine Ambrosia. And anyone else that is watching this video who creates content, consider yourself tagged. If you watch this video and don't create content, but are wishing you could, use this tag as your first video. It's really a wonderful tag, and it's a wonderful way to begin creating content. Ravenflower also asks us to use the hashtag RF2022 tag so that we can see where everybody's responses are. And if you do make a video, send me a message with a link to your video so I can see your responses too. So until next time, I love you. Mwah. Blessed be.